Leaving site number 4 at Tom Bigby State Park and coming here to Lock A Campground in Ashland, Tennessee was a fantastic decision. It was quite a hike to get here, and we have about 45 miles left on the Natchez Trace Parkway, but this is a beautiful site. We're very happy, and it is cool here, much more cool than the last site. I love it. I hope we're able to put the boat in this river. This is a beautiful site. Great campground. This is an Army Corps of Engineer campground. Everyone's happier here, including Lucy. There are squirrels galore. She is just fascinated. She's been like this for 30 to 45 minutes. A breakfast pizza. It has eggs, hash browns, sausage, green peppers, onions, cheddar cheese, crescent rolls on the bottom. Okay, so I'm out here in my little raft all by myself in the Cumberland River. That great big barge just passed. It's a little scary to be out here by yourself. Pretty cool. So I know this is just common sense, but I was going downstream pretty quickly, and then I thought, well, I'm getting kind of far away. I'll turn around and start going back upstream, and whoa, I started going a whole lot slower. It's like this little trolling motor, it's barely getting me back upstream on this river, which was a concern. No way could I paddle upstream. I guess if worst case, I would just paddle to the side.
Okay, we're back live on the Cumberland River near Ashland City, Tennessee. Here comes Lisa cruising down the river solo in her inflatable boat. She went across the river previously after a big barge went by. Fortunately, she survived the wake created by the barge and is heading back to shore like she knows what she is doing. She's about 40 yards out in the river from the shoreline, cruising right along. She just notified me she is going to continue up the river for some distance, so we will sign out at this time.
This is a beautiful river. And it's great having a little motor where you don't have to paddle. I'm just gonna go upstream for quite a ways and then I'm gonna drift back. The water feels so cool. I think if something terrible happened and I had to jump in the water, I don't think that it would be such a bad thing. It's pretty cool water. And I don't think there's alligators or water moccasins like there are in Florida. We are close to the Kentucky-Tennessee border. So look up there at that cliff beside the river. Look at all the rocks. That is so pretty. Just don't see that in Florida. It's beautiful. So now I'm going back downstream. I don't know if you can see how much faster I'm going. My gosh. What a difference. It's moving. This little trolling motor goes fast downstream. So much fun.
Our infamous river pirate, Captain Elisa, has been spotted coming back downriver in her warship, the USS Guppy. She should be arriving here momentarily. Stand by. There she is, out in the middle of the mighty Cumberland River, fast approaching her base camp. It remains to be seen what valuable treasures she has robbed and looted from passing river boats. But here she comes. Appears to be unarmed from any confrontations she likely had. Look at the professionalism she demonstrates in navigating a mighty river. It is remarkable, the navigational skills she possesses. She has in hand her tow line, waiting to toss ashore to secure the USS Guppy. signing out. She appears to be safe.
stood his lovely Indian maid, a little white dove, who was a herding, such a lovely sight to see. But the tribes fought with each other, so their love could never be. Running bed, love a little white dove, with a love big as the sky. Running bed, love a little white dove, with a love that couldn't die. He couldn't swim the raging river, 'cause the river was too wide. He couldn't reach the little white dove, waiting on the other side. In the moonlight, he could see her.
No, I'm not going to sing
No,
Running
come on.
Bear.
Running Bear, come
No,
on.
pull it up on the, pull it up. I got to refresh my memory with the lyrics.
So we needed a night away from the campsite, and so we're at this little restaurant called Sweezy's. The temperature is cool. It's, I mean, I could even have a long sleeve shirt on right now. I can't believe how the temperature's dropped. Isn't this a cute place to go? Mixed use with the retail on the bottom and the residential on the top. Very cute. So this is the memorial for Meriwether Lewis. He was the commander of the Lewis and Clark expedition. Some strange circumstances surrounded his death that happened at this location along the Natchez Trace. He apparently was depressed because it was 3 years after he and Clark completed their expedition, and Lewis had still failed to publish the necessary journals from their trip. And also, I believe that the bureaucrats in Washington were starting to question some of the purchases that Lewis made for the expedition. So he was concerned about bankruptcy if he was ever forced to repay some of those costs personally. So apparently he shot himself 2 times in the stomach, and he was found by Mrs. Grinder. This is a replica of Grinder's stand where he was staying the night. And she found him the next morning. He was cutting himself with razor blades because the 2 shots that he made to his stomach didn't kill him. So when he was found, he was actually cutting himself with razor blades. So that was the story that Mrs. Grinder had told, and that's what was believed for years. However, later on, some historians were questioning Mrs. Grinder's story, saying that perhaps Mrs. Grinder's husband killed Lewis or some bandits. So we are at Meriwether Lewis Campground.
Yep.
And we found a little creek, and we're going to stop and have ourselves a ham and turkey sandwich with chips and a cookie and a Coke, and everybody's going to take a nice little rest. So this is Water Valley Overlook at mile marker 412. That little house down there, how pretty. So at that site there were hundreds of these little butterflies. 3 of them flew in the car. So we're at about mile marker 405, and this is a old trace walk. It's preserved 2,000-foot long section of the original old Natchez trace, which follows a ridge 300 feet above the Duck River. Let's go see what we've got here. Oh, it is the middle of summer and ticks are really bad, so we have to keep the dogs in the middle. Which Lucy's pretty good about it. So this is the old trace. You actually get to walk a piece of it. Imagine how many people walked this, and carriages and horses, wagons. Imagine walking this hundreds of years ago. Probably flimsy shoes. So it is just a 2,000-foot section, and it ends right here.
Let's go.
But the woods are very pretty. Lucy smells something on that log. Okay, so we're at mile marker 401.4, and this is a tobacco farm. This is pretty awesome. It's an old tobacco drying barn. Let's go inside and see what's in there. So this is Jackson Falls. It says it's a 900-foot long steep trail down to the falls. So we're going to check this out. It's pretty steep going down. It's going to be interesting coming back up. I'm the only one down here right now. Oh, this is beautiful. is completely covered in canopy. Look, people have stacked the stones down there. Well, that was definitely worth the hike down, and I bet it's going to be worth the hike back up too. That's beautiful. I could stay down here for a long time. This is the home of a ferry operator. This home was built in the early 1800s. It's one of the last remaining structures on the Natchez Trace that was built in that period. The man that this house was built for, John Gordon, I think his name was. He was a ferry operator, like I said, but he died a year after this house was built, and his wife went on to live in this house for almost 40 years after he died. It's a very old home. The National Park Service has restored the house to its original appearance. It would be so awesome to be able to go inside that house. So my curiosity is getting the better of me. I see a shutter here that looks like it's open. I'm going to see if I can peek inside. It's a little too tall. I'm scared to touch it. I don't want to touch it. I don't know if you can see in there. Let's lighten it up, see if you can see in anything. There's a little picnic area and restroom here at this old house, but it's all closed right now due to COVID. Here I'm standing at the restroom area. You can see how far away the house is. It just sits there all by itself. It's so odd looking. This is a very interesting little stop.
Well, we are approaching a memorial to the War of 1812, and let's see what it says. This monument memorializes War of 1812 soldiers buried along the old Natchez Trace, and it honors the service of all brave volunteers who marched on the Natchez Trace during the War of 1812 to help establish American independence. The Natchez Trace served as an important route to move troops for the defense of the Gulf Coast region. Tennessee Volunteer Cavalry, under leadership of Andrew Jackson, marched down the Natchez Trace to Natchez, Mississippi in January 1813. General Jackson marched with his soldiers on their return, April 1813. Soldier detachments under Jackson's command again marched on the Natchez Trace in 1814, and following the victory at the Battle of New Orleans, most of the Americans who fought the battle returned on the Trace. Volunteers marched hundreds of miles, often in severe weather with little food and inadequate equipment. Natchez Trace inns served as hospitals. Soldiers who did not survive the marches are buried in unmarked graves along the Trace. On General Jackson's return near this point, he proclaimed his view of the significance of the victory earned by the soldiers' sacrifices. Our rights will henceforth be respected. Tennessee State Society, United States Daughters of 1812. On the bicentennial, June 16th, 2012. I'm going to drop a coin here with these other coins. Okay, baby. It's getting hot.
So we have just completed 444 miles on the Natchez Trace Parkway. What do you think about it, sweetheart? Did you enjoy it?
I certainly did.
I did too. It was a lot of fun. There were a lot of stops. We didn't get to stop at every one of them, but we certainly stopped at the majority. It was beautiful. I would highly recommend anyone doing this. It was a lot of fun, so thanks for following along on our journey.
It has been an endeavor that we will never forget.
It's true. Loveless Country Market.
There's a cafe.
Then this is the Loveless Cafe, and it is immediately off of the trail.